This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com, and if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Gemini and Gemini rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the new moon in Libra, happening on September the 26th at 7:54 a.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. So as far as the manifestation period, the night before on the 25th will be perfect to cast your spells. Let's talk about Libra. Let's talk about equality and justice. Let's talk about balance. Let's talk about equal exchange. And let's talk about the connecting point of polarity. That's one of the major desires of Libra, is to find the commonality in difference, is to look at the polarity of matter, light, shadow, good, evil, masculine, feminine, and find the connecting tissue that makes us realize that everything is connected and everything is indeed the same, of the same stuff. And the importance to balance both, to find harmony, to find beauty in that counterweight. For you, my Gemini friends, Libra rules your 5th house, which is the house of creativity and self-expression and art, and the inner child is probably a really simple way to describe the 5th house. To manifest at a new moon in the 5th is a beautiful, inspiring, hopeful, fantasy-like space. Now, I'm drawn to mention some of the other aspects that are occurring concurrently with this new moon, because I think in some ways there's a lot of information that we can glean from this. First of all, in terms of polarity, in terms of opposites and balance, in Aries, which is the opposite of Libra on the zodiac, lays Jupiter at 3 degrees. And Jupiter, as we know, is the planet of optimism and expansion and good fortune. It's the planet that is jovial and that wishes the best for us. So in opposition to your 5th house lays your 11th house, which is the house of community and humanity and the greater good, the greater collective. So that might say to me that there is encouragement to be found for your creative expression, your more individual sense of expression in community and the communities that you roll with. I think that it might be a lovely lunation for you to look to the other and to realize what you are a part of, what you have created and what you stand for in community, to aid you on and to help you actualize and realize this creative potential. It's worth noting as well that Mars is still lingering in your 1st house and will be there, as we know, for at least the next 6 months. This is unusual for Mars. I've spoken about this before, this time in one sign. And the Mars in Gemini energy is definitely one of activation and explosion. If we think of Gemini as an air sign, we think of Mars as a fire planet. Those connecting cause potential for great combustion, and for this all to be playing out in your first house of the soul would remind me of the activation process that you're in right now. The potential for great movement. Let's look at the tarot. I see you in celebration. I see you in a space of potential victory, Gemini. If not now, then soon. There's something that you've been working on. There's something that you've been conceptualizing or that you've been activating with fire, with passion, that has others admiring you, that has others looking at you, perhaps in that 11th house, Jupiter in the 11th, admiring you and celebrating your achievements. This lunation of the next creative phase or the next activation of your self-expression is coming at a time when you are being celebrated for just that, for your access to your creative mind and your ability to express yourself through means other than your intellect, than your communication, your intelligence. I think Gemini, can get trapped in the cerebral at times. There's a real power in the cerebral for Geminis. There's a real conversation that happens in there, in that duality of mind. And you're being celebrated right now for some level of mastery that you've achieved, some experience that has you receiving the celebration, receiving the acknowledgement, but also has you looking out for the next round, the next big adventure. There's a leveling up here that I'm really feeling, Gemini, that you're kind of primed for. And I suspect that it might have a lot to do with that Mars in the first house for you, that warrior. There's something that has not materialized yet that you're willing into existence, and you're not quite sure what it is just yet, but there's a deeper knowing, there's a deeper understanding, there's something that is bubbling to the surface. So as much as perhaps you are being recognized right now for your achievements or for your service, your contribution, it has you, rather than resting on your laurels, rather than sort of sitting in that basking glow of adulation, it has you set up for what's next. It has you looking out and preparing yourself for the next endeavor, which I admire, and good on you. I think it might be a nice moment for you to honor the moment and to allow some of this adulation and some of this achievement to really absorb into your nature, and to accept the congratulations, and look at this time in your life and look at this Mars energy in the first, over the next 6 months, as a process to temper. No, that's the wrong word. I didn't mean to say temper, but there's definitely a fire here, and there's something that's sort of brewing up inside of you that it would serve you well to measure out the fuel, I think, is probably the best way to say it. Yeah. There's, in terms of your ability to teach and your ability to express or to really come into alignment with the information that you've been absorbing, either from spirit or from your studies, or from both, probably from both, I would say. It has you in this vibrancy. It has you in this place where you're the one that folks might be coming to because they can see that fire in you. They can feel the Mars energy in your experience. They're drawn to it. They're drawn to that sort of passion, that red. Look at the red of the Hierophant, there's that visceral connection that might be cropping up, that might be realizing itself. And so now, at this lunation, at this Libra new moon in your fifth, which is, let's face it, it is to do with the self a lot. It is to do with our own pinprick or vantage point of expression and how you can best translate the messages from spirit through you and with your color, with your vibrancy. There's something that I can see for you that, yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. It really is. It has a lot to do with this inner child. It has a lot to do with coming back to this version of yourself, coming back into realignment with the personality of the young version of you. I feel that there's been milestones that you've been climbing. There's been such great progress in your energy, and you've really been working hard at it, Gemini. I know that it's been quite a interesting 6 months for my Gemini souls. And there's, what I see here is a real acknowledgement. There's a real a celebration of your achievements thus far. There's a recognition of your expertise, of your mastery. There's also a gateway here to higher learning. Whenever I see the Hierophant, I always think of, well, one, I think of my beautiful mentor in tarot, Julia Inglis of Sacred Familiar. If you don't know her, I'm sure that you do, but go there. I think of that soul that we meet in life that is an ocean behind the eyes, that appears to know so much of the human experience and holds so much knowledge, holds so much spiritual power and so much philosophical lessons in their eyes, in their very, very being. There's a duality, I think, with the Hierophant. There's that phrase of a good teacher is a perpetual student. I think I've said that many times in these readings, but I really believe it. Every single human being that I come into contact with that has boundless knowledge, has a boundless craving for more. When we're working with this stuff, and when we're reading birth charts, or we're working with the tarot for greater understanding of ourselves, and we look for guidance in others, or we find that we're at a period in life where we are the one proffering guidance, it reminds us of the equal playing field, that this is this ascension, as it were, this sort of raising up of consciousness that we're all striving for if we're on this path to enlightenment. I'm using a lot of purple dolphin language. I apologize, but this is where it's, this is the reading. Enjoy. On this path of enlightenment that we seem to be on this journey towards greater understanding of our soul's purpose and greater connective tissue that we can graft and bind us all together so we can rise together. This figure here, this Hierophant, this keeper of the knowledge, is such a seductive image to me. I know that in this card it's painted as the Pope, or painted as the sort of the Holy One. There's something really connected for me in the Hierophant. There's something really sensual about this personality. And I think that in some ways you're being looked at in this way. Your guidance, your knowledge, your intelligence is seductive, and people want more of that. They want to absorb more of that from you. And I would suspect, and this is probably where we can bring the spell work into it too, this sort of manifestation period of your fifth house, is that connection that you bear with your inner child, the essence of your being. I'll say it again. I'm sure that I've said it before. I apologize if I'm repeating myself. But who you were as a kid, before the trauma, before the pain, before the rejection, before the sorrow of life, and it's different for everyone of when these cycles began. There's an essence of you in youth that is still in you now. And building that bridge, building that connecting tissue, again, we'll talk about in scientific terms, grafting those fibers on the pathway back to that inner self for that person to come out through the eyes, through the face, through the heart chakra, the fifth house, self-expression, is so alluring and so seductive. And so I'd encourage more of that in you, Gemini. I'd encourage you to really work with that energy and to feel it and to recognize the Hierophant that lives in you and to consistently seek out the Hierophant in others. This is how we teach one another. It's by identifying with one another and by seeing ourselves in the other and allowing them to see us. That's the reading, I think, Gemini. Yeah, that's it. I'll be with you in 2 weeks for the full moon in Aries. I would highly recommend you head over to umaruby.com if you've not already. I'm releasing my first newsletter at the dawning of Libra season, so potentially maybe a day or two before this lunation. Don't quote me. Now that I've said it, oh crap, okay. Head to umaruby.com. That's where you can make direct contact with me. That's where you can book your birth chart reading with me. I love you very much, Gemini, and I will speak to you in 2 weeks. Take care.